while we're here, one of those interviews that dropped recently as well, one of the owners, was trying to make the point of, yeah, if it's your home league and all this. Once again, he's very good at being politically correct on camera. Very, very good at that. He's one of the best in our culture. I got to tip my hat to him there. But it's just not true. We see this a million times. Like I can show you just a couple here, but I probably got like 30 of these saved. Because anytime I see a air quotes URL battler battling off of URL, I save it. Because to me, it paints a picture of like what some of the things that happens behind the scenes, monopoly attempts, in my opinion. And even though a majority of the time, it seems to be like RBE and King of the Dot are the targets, whether it be for taking creativity or alleged sabotage or disruption or interference, right? Don't get it twisted. I sympathize with a lot of leagues that had to go through BS, allegedly due to other companies. We don't forget what happened to Shotty Horror's card. We don't forget what happened to Gracie's card and the Crown 2. Remember, that was supposed to be Hitman and Suge on that card. And she had to go to hell and back to reconstruct that card. I think Shotty and his partners just took an all flat out loss. So that's why when Shotty Horror and Gracie, see Hollow tweet about $26,000 to not battle Mook on RBE, they chime in like that because they know about the stuff that they had to go through and how much money that they lost. Hell, even Hitman had an issue. Do we forget that Hitman was putting a card together where he was tapping a bunch of battlers that were getting paid with him more than they ever been paid before? What happened to his card? Did he just wake up one morning and decide, you know what, I decided not to do it? What happened to his card? But once again, trust me, this is not an interference blog. We would be here for 5 hours if I tried to show y'all all that stuff. This is not an interference blog. This is just about people saying that they have an issue with imitation or putting your hands on other people's plate. The pot calling the kettle black. And we could all continue to ignore it. We could all continue to ignore it. I think one of the reasons why RBE ended up in such a despised situation with these people is because we're outspoken about it, right? We're outspoken about it. I think too many people have allowed themselves to just remain quiet or not stand up for what they see happening or take some type of action. Taking action could be speaking out. You got all types of civil rights leaders and everything that help change the world because of speaking out. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing. I'm not saying go to war. I'm not saying go to court for every situation. That's not what I'm saying. But if you play deaf and you play blind, we just continue to lose as a culture because all these battles and all these events that take these hits, we lose leagues, we lose league owners. We lose classic matchups. That's the end game. You know what I'm saying? I know certain people probably want it to be like that, where it's just, one and done, one stop shop. But I don't think that helps the culture. I think most bloggers and media and battlers know that things would be way worse if there was only one place to go. Right? I could say that in so many situations, like you lose your leverage, you lose your creativity, you lose your opportunities. You lose your amount of times that you could battle during the year. Like there's just so much that's lost from trying to depend on one person to do all of this shit, going well out of their way. Even though they claim they don't care what happens in other places and they don't pay attention. We see cards get created. We see dates get moved. We see money get spent. We see bookings get made. We see all types of wild time spent on worrying about other people, right? Why? Why does that happen? Why doesn't that happen to every league then? Why would somebody that is dumb say, but why only King of the Dot and RB? Let's answer the why. All right. And I want to be very clear. This is all due respect to all of my peer and fellow league owners. But I want to answer this honestly. Let's go to RBE specifically first. I think it's clear. Like there's methods of like market dominance that come into play there. But there still has to be a root of insecurity. If you're telling everybody that you don't pay attention or care to what anybody else is doing, and you spend that much time worrying about what everybody else is doing, then you must have a level of insecurity of what everybody else is doing. So I got to put that in there. I got to say that that's a piece of it when we talk about RBE specific. I did hear things about a woman many, many moons ago. I did hear things about a woman. Heard from a very credible source, somebody that's right next to the person. You know what I'm saying? Considers him a brother. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but you never know. Telephone game, messages can be misconstrued. So you never know. But I heard that too. It'd be a shame though, you know, when we heard same person, you know, having those situations outside of RBE as well. I mean, shout out to Math. He rapped about it on stage overseas. But that's still, even if that was something, it could only be like, what, a small fraction overall?
It goes without saying, like, there's a lot of battle leagues that come and go, but RBE been here to stay. So, you know, they bringing certain elements to the table that other leagues ain't bringing. And I also appreciate that they're in the city because, you know, outside of Smack, you don't have much people doing that in New York.
Let's get back to a big piece of it. Money, right? Money's the root of all evil. We see the interviews where, you know, the league owner says, there is no option B. This is my option A. There's nothing else. It's this or nothing else. So if it's directly tied to your livelihood, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you can look at other leagues and I guess you paint them in a picture of competition that could affect your money, right? The root of all evil, fucking money, man. It's crazy what it does to this world and what it does to people. But on a general level, as it applies to all leagues, not just RBE specific, I'll tell you the why. Capability is the word. Okay. Like I said before, no disrespect to any of my fellow league owners, but the capability is the issue. If you are UW and you can do high stakes events with Hitman and Shotgun Suge or Hollow versus Lux, that's an issue. If you are Guerrilla Warfare and you can do the Crown events, the Crowns was looking like Summer Madness. Hitman and Suge, once again, was a booking on that. The Return of Lady Lux and these crazy ass battles for the Crown events, that's an issue. If you are King of the Dot and you're running off events like Massacre, Blackout, World Domination, Bunker, that's an issue. If you are the Rucker, Little O RBE, and you're doing Lift of Souls and Pearly Gates and the Rare Breeds card or Max Out, that's an issue. There's not going to be an issue with platforms that don't operate with those type of reach. Even if you're Bullpen. Remember, Bullpen came out the gate with big budget events. Did y'all memories just leave y'all that fast? You know, John was coming out early on with battles like Oz versus Sai and the 2-on-2 with Math and Cortez and all that. You know, he had a different budgeted situation as far as his early events. And ask John if he had any issues. Ask Awesome if he had any issues. Ask Guerrilla Warfare if they had any issues, and Miss Crazy. Ask Organic and Bish and Gully, you know, these people, if they had any issues. Ask me if we had any issues. It's our reach. It's our capability. You know what I'm saying? If you have these big budgeted events, if you have sponsorships, if you can put on, if you can book Mook, if you can book Cassidy or Hitman, that's an issue. Want to know why? Because it starts to level the playing field. You start to look like you can do the same thing. You can be just as good. You can reach just as many people. The bloggers, the media, all these celebrities. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. The capability is really, really the core and the root of all of this shit. I think it's important that we do discuss the lanes in battle rap.